Well, she went and got it. Oh, thanks. Really snorting me face. Hi everybody, and thank you very much for watching today. Yes, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know I've been mentioning the Canon M50. Well, I've actually finally got it. I would waft it around in front of you in my hand, but seeing as it's recording this video at this time, then there we are. There's a box. That's what it came in. Isn't it lovely? So basically today I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit about my initial impressions of it and, you know, a bit of a background of why I chose the Canon M50. So starting off, why did I choose the Canon M50? So if you know my work, you'll know that it's very abstract. There's not much detail, that kind of thing. I do ICM for those that don't actually know. You know, the traditional type of photography. I don't need a lot of those features. You know, in particular detail. So months ago, when I first started the YouTube stuff, I started off with this little action cam. The E light, so it was nice and economical, and I could afford it last year when at the beginning of the year when I bought it. So it's done it, you know, it did a job for a while, and I just got kind of sick of having to use it and having to sync up the audio and all this kind of stuff. So I was kind of on the lookout for a decent kind of a traditional camera I can attach a microphone to, which is right on top of the camera right at this moment. So I just wanted it so I could speed the whole vlogging thing up a lot, you know, speed all that up because a lot of it's such a faff. So I was on the lookout for a camera that did video, and also with the thought that I may actually use it for photography as well. If you know much about us, you know what you do know that I shoot a Nikon D700, which is what, 10 years old now. So I was just looking for something that was a bit more updated that I could use to lower my weight, you know, carrying the weight around, because I'm getting old. I wasn't really too fussed about what I was going to get, just something a bit lighter that did great video and had the ability of taking some basic imagery. So initially I looked at the Canon 200D, but that, pretty much as I was looking at that, the Canon M50 was released or announced, and everybody, oh, it's the vlogger's paradise, you know, it's got flip screen, it's got the connection for the mic and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, right, okay, we'll go for that. Just took us months and months to save up for it. So finally, after all this time, saved up, now got it, now happy as Larry. I can do videos like this a lot more often, and actually stuff outside as well. One reason why I did go for the M50 over the 200D was there is more focus points, it's a newer processor in the camera, you know, newer gear, because the 200D is what, probably 3-4 years old now. The M50 was what, released in the spring or whatever. So just newer tech for roughly the same money. Bingo, we'll get the M50. So what I'm going to do is just give you some initial thoughts on the camera itself, how it handles, a few things that annoy me and a few things that I've been kind of disappointed in. Obviously I'm coming from a background of the weird and wonderful side of photography, not your basic take pictures of people, take pictures of landscapes, that kind of thing. I'm doing something very different, so I've got particular things I'm looking for. Basically stuff that only really applies to me, but I'll give you my thoughts. It may help you, it may not. So we're just going to kick things off with some thoughts. So first off, it's amazingly light. You know, I've got the 15-45 kit lens on it. It's a tiny body. I mean, when I compare it to my D700 alongside it, it's, you know, it's tiny, and you know, it's like this compared to this huge DSLR. So it's, well, that's brilliant. So job one job ticked off the list. It's a hell of a lot lighter, which is brilliant. One thing that isn't so good is the bloody ergonomics of it. It's so small, and my hands aren't exactly tiny. They're not massive either. I'm literally holding it with 2 fingers. When one hand, when the rest of your hand's resting underneath it, it's not comfortable. And especially the way I'm working with the camera as well, as I'm flailing it around, then those harder plastics rub against your finger, and it's not comfortable. The files are nice and big. My D700 produced images that were 4,200 and something pixels, but on the longest edge. The M50 is making images that are 6,000 pixels on the longest edge. So immediately, much bigger files, going to be able to print larger straight away. The M50 here, 6,000 pixels, immediately going to be way above A3 by default. Fantastic, brilliant. Let's move on. One thing I have been a little bit disappointed in is the ISO noise. The M50 goes from ISO 100 up to 25,600, I think the number is. I've only ever shot at ISO 100 so far, and even that's quite noisy for me. This is probably down to sensor size and pixel density on sensor. I've gone from a 12 megapixel full frame sensor, which is as clean as a whistle at ISO 100, to, this has got 24 megapixels crammed onto a APS-C size sensor. So that's a lot to cram in. So a lot of, everything's a lot closer together, and there's quite a bit more noise. For ordinary landscape photography or that kind of thing, it shouldn't really be a problem in ISO 100. But what I am finding is that for my ICM work, I'm having to push the noise reduction in Lightroom, well into the 60% to get anything near a flat kind of image. Because when I start layering things together, that ISO noise can get out of hand very quickly. One of the weirder things I've had to, I'm struggling to get over, is that it probably only applies to maybe one photographer in the world, and that would be me. I'm the only photographer out there shooting my brand of ICM using a Canon M50. And I'm struggling with its center of gravity because it's so small, because of the short lens. Its center of gravity, as I'm moving and twisting the camera around, it's a nightmare to get used to after I've used a big bulky Nikon body, with a big chunky 16 to 35mm lens. Like I could spin that on a sixpence, know exactly what's in frame, how I've got to move to keep those shapes in the frame. It's so random at the minute. It's going to take a long time to get used to it. But then again, it took me 3 years with the Nikon to get used to that and getting the best out of the best data out of that I could. So using the M50 is going to take some time. I've only had it a week and a bit. These things will come, I'm sure. Some really great things about it is I'm loving having the live view. Beforehand, I would basically focus on my Nikon. I would focus the camera, lock it back to manual, and then just flail away randomly. But no, I knew roughly where things were. Whereas this, it's primarily driven by your live view preview on the back of the camera. So I can use that to line things up brilliantly. So at least every shot I'm starting from the same place. So I can get my framing right. So that's a brilliant thing. Another thing I'm struggling with a little bit is the electronic shutter. I don't know whether it's just getting used to the point at which point the shutter actually opens, because I do I'm shooting everything from a couple of seconds down to a fifth of a second. The quicker exposures I am struggling with, because with my Nikon, there was big lag, clack, and I knew that's when the shutter was open. The electronic shutter is a bit quieter. It sounds like it's a lot slower moving out of the way, but I don't know if that's right or not. But it's one of them things that it's just a timing issue, and that's I'm struggling with that at the moment. Basically, at what time does that shutter start? Once I've got that kind of sorted out, it's only going to take practice. I'm sure I'll be fine. As all the other vlogs and things that you'll have seen about the M50, I can only attest to they are right. The video on it is fantastic. It's so simple to use. It's basically press and go. You've got the dual pixel autofocus, works well. You can see my face. It should be all in focus. If I move left and right, it should follow. If the dog comes in, it'll still focus on me, hopefully. So that's brilliant and simple. Just set it and go. Time lapses are dead simple as well. There's some default settings, and it's just started off, point it in the direction that you want it, and away it goes, and it'll keep on going until it's finished. So the only thing is, shooting time lapses, I've got to be a bit more patient because I'm bored out my skin whilst I'm waiting for it to do it. So these are mainly my first initial thoughts, but I thought I will just list a few annoyances because I do like to do. I was going to say I like to do these things negatively. You do pick up on the negative side of things more than what you would the positive side of things. So I thought I'd quickly run through those. So annoyances number one is the lens lock. Why? There's a catch when you first open it up. There's a catch. You've got to twist it round so far until you can do anything on the camera. And that just slows you down. It's like you should be turning it on, take the lens cap off, you should be ready to go. So I don't know why they've set it like that. Obviously lens size, to cram all that glass into such a small area is one of them things. But it's annoying. Reviewing images on the back of the screen, the preview length was either off 2 seconds and all the way up to 8 seconds. Well, I'm sure on my Nikon, I haven't checked it. It's set to half a second or a second, which was always, quick enough, and it rendered it straight away and it was there immediately. It's a little bit slower on the M50, and also the shortest preview you can have is 2 seconds, whereas at times I'm usually getting a flow of work, and I've actually got to stop because I've got to wait for the image review to get out of the way so I can shoot another picture. So that's a bit annoying at times. But I do need to see those images between each shot. So it would have been really nice if they'd had a preview of 1 second. One thing for when I'm out vlogging, I've only tested the vlogging capabilities once, and I haven't got a gimbal and I haven't got a Gorilla Pod yet to stick it on. So I have just been holding it handheld like this, and it's basically holding it with my left hand. I keep on pressing all the buttons on the back and interrupting things, which isn't ideal. But that's maybe it's designed to be held right-handed. I don't know. And my last small annoyance, it's a fairly minor one, but it's still annoying, is because everything's menu driven and it's all on the live screen or the back of the camera. I'm finding if I've got the camera close, then it thinks that I've got my eye to the eyepiece, so therefore switches off the live view. It can be quite annoying. Just as I was setting this up, before I had the microphone plugged into the side, the cable was dangling around behind the camera, and the live view kept on switching off. And that was getting a bit annoyed. So at times when I've been playing around with the menu, and it's just randomly gone off because it thinks I've got my eye to the eyepiece, which I'm like, a foot back, which is bloody annoying. But anyways, that's technology for you, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, this may come across as a bit negative, comparing apples to oranges and this kind of stuff. But I'll give you my honest initial thoughts on it. I am enjoying using it. I am loving it. I'm loving the challenge. I'm loving the new technology in it. The added challenge of trying to make my normal images with a completely new camera. And that's only going to help for when I'm doing workshops with clients as well, because they're all got different cameras, And yes, I do say that you can make these images with any camera, providing it's a digital camera and it's manual. You can control it manually. But I am noticing that certain things are a little bit different. Timings are different. But it's all come down to learning your camera, and I've got to spend time with this camera, relearning my movements, how the camera renders shadows and brights, and how it handles them and which it prioritizes. So it's all new stuff. It's all got to be learned. But I'm enjoying the challenge, and I am actually going to use this exclusively for a month for all my image making, and I'll do a fuller review after that, once that month's up, as to whether I'm going to continue using it as my photographic camera as well as my vlogging camera. I'm not sure I'll be selling the Nikon quite yet, but you never know, I might move it on next year. We'll see. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please do leave a thumbs up below, leave a comment if you've got any comments, and until next time, see ya.